This is the Liaison Podcast with Izzy Park, and today's travel show is about experiencing the ultimate luxury of Barbados while floating above stunning underwater coral cathedrals. Barbados, the island that mastered being itself. Picture this. You're floating in water so clear you can count the scales on a sea turtle gliding beneath you. The Caribbean sun warming your shoulders while Atlantic waves crash against distant cliffs. Your rum punch, made with the world's oldest rum, sits waiting on the beach. You've just eaten the best flying fish of your life at a local fish fry where the music's so good you forgot to be self-conscious dancing. And everyone, and I mean everyone, greets you with genuine warmth that makes you feel less like a tourist and more like you've somehow come home to a place you've never been. Here's what you need to understand about Barbados right from the jump. This isn't some resort island that exists purely for your vacation photos. This is a proper nation, a republic that just confidently stepped away from the British Commonwealth, an island where Rihanna isn't just from here, she's a national hero and official cultural ambassador. The same place that invented rum back when your great-great-great-great-grandparents were still figuring out fermentation. The only Caribbean island that never changed colonial hands, which created this absolutely fascinating cultural identity that's part British parliamentary procedure, part African soul, part something entirely new that can only be called Bajan. The island sits at the eastern edge of the Caribbean, where the Atlantic Ocean meets the Caribbean Sea, which means you get two completely different experiences depending on which coast you're exploring. The West Coast, they call it the Platinum Coast, which should tell you something, offers that postcard-perfect Caribbean calm. Water so clear and blue it looks photoshopped. Beaches where the sand is soft as powder and the waves are gentle enough that you can float for hours contemplating your existence. This is where the sea turtles hang out, completely unbothered by humans, just munching on seagrass in water shallow enough that you can stand and watch them glide past your legs like you're not even there. But flip over to the East Coast, and suddenly you're dealing with the full power of the Atlantic. Bathsheba Beach has these massive boulders sitting in the surf that look like ancient giants turned to stone. The waves here are no joke, world-class surf breaks that attract serious riders from everywhere. The landscape turns dramatic, all rugged cliffs and wild beauty that makes the West Coast's refinement look almost tame by comparison. Standing at the edge, watching the ocean pound against the rocks, you understand why this island breeds such strong, self-possessed people. What makes Barbados absolutely unmissable right now is this energy of confidence and transformation. This is an island nation that just peacefully became a republic, completing a journey from colony to fully independent country. You can feel it in how Bajans carry themselves. There's this pride that's infectious without being exclusionary. They know what they've got here, and they're happy to share it. But they're not performing for you. The restaurants are run by Bajan chefs cooking Bajan food the way it's meant to be cooked. The rum shops, these tiny local bars scattered across the island, are actual gathering places for actual Bajans who happen to welcome you joining them, not tourist attractions pretending to be authentic. And the food situation? Bonkers good. Flying fish is the national obsession. And after your first bite of perfectly fried fish with cou-cou, this traditional dish made from cornmeal and okra, you'll understand why. Friday night at Oistins Fish Fry isn't some curated experience designed for Instagram. It's where Bajans go to eat ridiculous amounts of fresh fish, drink Banks beer, dance to soca and calypso, and generally have the best time possible. You'll see families, couples, groups of friends, Everyone gathered around these outdoor grills where vendors are turning out grilled marlin, fried flying fish, lobster tails, fish cakes, macaroni pie. The music's playing, people are dancing between the tables, and nobody's worried about looking cool. It's pure joy made manifest through seafood and rum punch. Speaking of rum, Barbados invented it. Mount Gay Distillery has been making rum since 1703, which means they've had over 3 centuries to perfect their craft. Taking the tour and tasting your way through their expressions while learning about rum's history feels like getting a masterclass in Caribbean culture. Because rum isn't just a drink here, it's tied to the island's entire history, from sugar plantations to independence, from economy to identity. When you're sipping a properly made Bajan rum punch, and the recipe here includes bitters and nutmeg, trust me on this, you're drinking something that contains the whole, complicated, beautiful story of this place. Now let's talk about the culture, because this is where Barbados gets really fascinating. Over 90% of the population is of African descent, but British influence runs through everything, like words in a stick of rock candy. They drive on the left. They're absolutely obsessed with cricket, and I mean religious-level devotion. The education system is British-based, contributing to a literacy rate over 97%. You'll hear parliamentary procedure conducted in lilting Caribbean English that somehow makes governmental process sound almost musical.
Building a new product? Temez Labs takes you from napkin sketch to the App Store. Trusted by Fortune 500s for quality, security, and speed. Book your free strategy session at temez.ai.
What's remarkable is how Bajans have synthesized these influences into something distinctly their own, rather than just accepting imposed culture. Post-independence, and especially among younger Bajans, there's been this beautiful reclamation and celebration of African heritage elements. You see it in the art scene, in music, in how people talk about history and identity. The transformation to a republic wasn't about rejecting everything. British Bajans still love their cricket and maintain certain traditions. It was about deciding their own constitutional future. That's a level of cultural maturity that's genuinely inspiring. Walk through Bridgetown, the capital, and you'll experience this blend firsthand. The Parliament buildings are proper Victorian Gothic colonial architecture. But step into Cheapside Market, and you're surrounded by the sounds and smells of Caribbean market culture. Vendors selling fresh fruit, calling out prices, locals haggling and gossiping. The historic Garrison area, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, preserves these beautiful coral stone military buildings from the British era, but they exist alongside vibrant neighbourhoods where chattel houses have been preserved and restored. The chattel houses, by the way, are architectural poetry. They were designed to be disassembled and moved when workers changed plantations. But the houses themselves are gorgeous, painted in brilliant colours, decorated with traditional fretwork, fitted with jalousie windows perfect for tropical ventilation. Now they're protected as cultural heritage, some converted into shops or guest houses, representing this acknowledgement of working-class history as worthy of preservation. Language here is its own adventure. English is official, but Bajan Creole is what you'll actually hear. It's English-based, but with African linguistic influences, unique pronunciation, and its own grammatical structures. You'll pick up key phrases fast. Liming means hanging out. Walking up is dancing, particularly that characteristic Caribbean wine. Ole talk is gossip or just chatting. And you'll notice how important greetings are. Saying good morning, good afternoon, or good evening when you enter a space or pass someone isn't optional. It's basic respect, and Bajans notice when tourists skip it. Now, let's talk about what you're actually going to do here, besides float in perfect water and eat your body weight in flying fish. Swimming with sea turtles is genuinely magical. These massive hawksbill and green sea turtles just cruise through the shallow water on the west coast, completely comfortable with humans. You can snorkel or just swim alongside them, watching them graze on seagrass or glide past with that ancient, unbothered energy. It never gets old. Every time feels like a wildlife documentary moment, except you're in it. Harrison's Cave is this crystallized limestone cavern system that's legitimately spectacular. You descend into this underground world of flowing streams, emerald pools, massive stalactites and stalagmites, towering columns that took millennia to form. The tram tour is convenient, but if you're up for it, the walking tour gets you deeper into the cave system, where the formations are even more dramatic. Standing in these cathedral-like chambers, listening to water echo off stone, you're reminded that the island's beauty isn't just surface level. The East Coast deserves an entire day of exploration. Bathsheba is the main draw. Those famous boulders in the surf, the wild Atlantic energy, the Soup Bowl surf break, where you can watch experienced surfers take on genuinely challenging waves. The little fishing villages along this coast retain such authentic character. Stop for lunch at a local spot and you'll eat fresh fish with a view of crashing waves while locals discuss cricket and politics. Drive through the Scotland district. Yes, that's really what they call the rolling hills in the northeast, and you'll see landscape completely different from the rest of the island's flatter terrain. For cultural immersion beyond Oistins Fish Fry, explore the rum shop culture. These tiny bars, and there are hundreds scattered across the island, are where Bajans actually spend their free time, drinking local rum, playing dominoes, engaging in what they call old talk. Walking into a rum shop as a visitor requires a certain respectful approach. Buy around, engage genuinely. Don't treat it like a zoo or photo opportunity. Done right, you'll have conversations and experiences that give you more insight into Bajan life than any guided tour.
Oh, hey, friend. Do you like what you're hearing? Now you can have a ridiculously amazing podcast, too. Check out holler.studio to get yourself one today.
If there's a cricket match happening at Kensington Oval, go. You don't need to understand cricket fully, though Bajans will happily explain. Just absorb the atmosphere. Cricket here is cultural glue, national pride, community gathering, and entertainment, all rolled into one. When the West Indies play, especially against traditional rivals like England, the energy is electric. For something completely different, head to North Point, an animal flower cave. This natural sea cave at the island's northern tip has openings where Atlantic waves crash through, creating these dramatic water displays. When conditions are right, you can swim in natural pools inside the cave while waves surge around you. It's exhilarating and slightly terrifying in the best way. All right, let's address the social scene. St. Lawrence Gap on the south coast is nightlife central. This strip of bars, clubs and restaurants attracts a mix of tourists and locals, particularly younger Bajans. The vibe is party-friendly without being messy. For more upscale vibes, the West Coast beach clubs like Nikki Beach offer sophisticated sunset-to-evening experiences. Champagne cocktails, lounge music transitioning to dance beats, beautiful people watching the sun melt into the Caribbean. It's pricey, but the setting is ridiculous. Baxter's Road in Bridgetown. We hope you enjoyed the trip. You can support the Liaison podcast by rating it 5 stars and pressing the follow button. And remember, one's destination is never a place, but rather a new way of looking at things.
Grep News. Tamez.